Hi, I'm Tammy Sevcov, and this is Worth Considering, where we stretch our hearts and minds as believers to better engage with the world around us. And today, I want to talk about affirmative action. Kinda. The reason I say kinda is because this topic is so varied, and I'm conflicted on it. Because the way conservative white Christians have talked about this in circles I'm aware of, it's been really negative, right? People are getting scholarships and opportunities that they didn't earn because of their gender, because of their race, because of whatever, that they are being handpicked and given opportunities. And that's not fair, because it should be an equal playing field, and it should be like you earn these things simply by merit, right? It's merit alone, and that's how these opportunities are handed out. And all things being fair, I think most people would agree with that. The question is if all things are fair. So the purpose of affirmative action, which if you think about the words, affirmative is positive action, right? Moving forward. So positive moving forward, that the purpose of it is to say that there are places and people who aren't getting a fair shake to compete. There are people who, because of their situation, are not likely to be represented. I want to pause there for a minute. I want to talk about majority culture for a minute. I mentioned this in a previous episode, that majority culture is not necessarily evil, it just is. So in any situation, any society, in any certain even microcosm of society, you're going to have a bias in those who are of the ruling class. Now, I don't say class to mean socioeconomic status as much as I do mean those who are in charge. So a lot of times, for instance, the reason we don't feel like our needs are represented on Capitol Hill are often because those people, it feels like, are out of touch with what it's like to be a normal breadwinner in America, like someone who's maybe a blue collar worker, someone who's had to fight for having their ends meet in life. Most of the politicians haven't come from those kind of scenarios. They're people who've been raised in more luxury than most of us have, and therefore it feels like you don't understand us, right? So in a sense, we could call that a ruling class, even though in America it's not based on class. It is, because those are the people who have the opportunity to go into politics in a different way than most people have. Now, there are people who have risen from and through difficult situations in order to come to that place. But that's not the lion's share. And that's kind of the idea of affirmative action, is that there's places and peoples that are not represented well. Now, I think just in my own experience in life and in society and in work and things that I've been a part of, one of the best things that you can do that is super difficult to do as a leader is to bring other voices to the table and really listen to people who are different from you. That is a difficult thing to do because it's not how you see it. It's not how you think. There are people who are white and grew up, maybe in the similar years as me, who I totally disagree with because of their personal experience and lifespan and what they've experienced in life and how they see things. But that's magnified when you talk to somebody who has been maybe raised in a completely different culture than you, a completely different parenting style than you. Those are things that cause differences. And when you're dealing with the different ethnicities and cultures of our society, not different races, we're only one race. I'm a human, you're a human. We're the same race, but we do have different cultures, and some of that is still related to our ethnicities. I have certain cultural differences as a Slovak descendant because my dad is first generation Canadian, and we had foods and customs in our home that were different because they were Eastern European. There are things that are different about me because I listened to rap and hip hop all growing up, and I enjoy gospel music and hip hop more than most other types of music. That's me. That's who I am. Now, people don't know that by looking at me, but that is who I am. And if I can come to the table and talk about those things, I'm going to bring a different perspective than some people. But at the same time, there are people who aren't at the table for whatever reason. Sometimes you're going to make decisions that impact people that are not like you. Are you willing to bring those people to the table? In a sense, that's the affirmative action I think that's important for us as believers to think about. Not that there isn't bigger society-wide considerations, but just for today, just think about that for a minute. Where do you have influence? Where are you helping make decisions? Where are you able to be an influencer? Are you bringing people into that conversation who are different from those in leadership? Are you welcoming some voices that maybe haven't put in the work, but you could at least have them consult? It's a hard thing to process because we're like, well, if they haven't done the work to get into this place, why would I bring them to the table? And I'm not saying they need an equal position of leadership, but can you bring them to the conversation? If for nothing else, to stretch your own mind and consider if the direction you're going is the right direction, or if there's some other things to consider. I suppose that's the whole reason that this channel exists, is to get us to consider some things that aren't maybe what we would naturally think about. Are we willing to step outside of our comfort zone and really consider how to take care of people? Because I am confident that men are not evil, but that the feminist movement of our day that does want to make everything about men being bad or not being kind are taking that because in the past, men have been the ones in control. The leaders, the bosses, the teachers, the influencers. And there wasn't really room for women to have their say. Are we adjusting that culture-wide? Are we saying, no, there's room for people to have their opinion. There's room to invite others to the table. There's room to have conversation that's uncomfortable. I don't know, but I would say this. Affirmative action toward anyone, affirming them, encouraging them to step up, to lead larger, to be more than maybe what their history has decreed over them. I think anything we can do that can be affirming to help people step up and be the man or woman of God they're called to be sounds like something I'd want to be a part of. Maybe we'll talk more about this on another episode. Thanks for watching. Worth Considering is all about conversation, so I'd love your comments in the section below. However, if you want to rage, we're not going to engage. This channel is not about us fighting. It's really about us trying to stretch our hearts and minds and be better as people. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please like and subscribe, share, and we'll see you soon.